I'm just getting to the point where I'm thinking I shouldn't be teaching on this tonight because we have just done so poorly at attracting people to this virtual meeting. But there are some keys that we can at least use that can help. So let's just run through them now. If you saw my really cool infographic that I made up myself, I was so proud of myself for doing that. You saw all those different deals, but let's expand on those. So let's just start there and let's see if we can go it. First of all, make it good. If your meetings are seen as valuable, people will try to make time for them. So obviously this meeting was not seen as valuable, or there's a whole lot of other projects going on because I know we're down the last couple of weeks before the end of this term. People are trying to get all their stuff done, so I get it. But so you want to try to make them valuable. As you plan your meeting, ask yourself what it is that you would like to come to. What is it that would attract me? Or what could make it better? So seek to make the best value for the time invested. Plan for your group members to leave excited and motivated. So when you go through this particular thing with me tonight, you're going to leave excited and motivated. I can tell. I mean, Catherine is already smiling. She knows she's going to leave excited and motivated. Look at that. And Joanne, look at that $1 million smile. There it is. All right. And we're going to try to stay in the designated time. No one sets out to make their meetings boring or invaluable. It just happens. But why does it happen? Well, let's go to Slido and see what you can come up with. So slido.com, ACF1. Let's go to those particular questions and see what you come up with. Biggest reason meetings flop is because since people don't know how to integrate discussion or feedback into virtual meetings, it tends to become a single direction message, okay? The people leading them tend to throw them together at the last minute with very little planning. The topic's boring, the people leading them are boring, people refuse to turn their cameras on. Okay, so basically the last three got nobody to vote for them. But 83% said people don't know how to integrate discussion or feedback into virtual meetings. And so it becomes a single direction message. Now notice what we're doing here is you're actually giving feedback, but it's a different type of feedback. It allows you to kind of think through this thing. But there are, what if it's multiple options for this question? It could be, but I just made you, I think, vote for one. There could be a lot of different reasons, and it could be the topic is boring. It could be the people leading them are boring. But two reasons I find basically are there's not a whole lot of way for feedback, and you guys put that as the number one thing, and I think that's key. But I find that people don't do feedback well because they fail to plan. So the people leading them tend to throw those meetings together last minute, and with very little planning, it's pretty hard to plan in for feedback. Now, it took me about an hour and a half or 2 hours to get this presentation ready because I wanted to give you a chance for feedback. So I built it in, but you can't do that if you're just winging it at the last minute, okay? Let's go on. What are ways you think could add value to a meeting you're leading? Make the meeting as relevant to the times, yes, or covers a topic or feature a guest speaker and offer advice, whether it would be about careers, relationships, other college students would be interested in, yes. Learn how to teach members how to interact on Zoom, that's good. So let's just open your mics for a minute. How could you teach members to interact on Zoom? Well, you could also do it in chat if you want to, but feel free to talk.
We always start our messages with our Bible studies with prayer and praise request time and how's your week, so people are used to talking to each other before we start trying to present a message, so they're I guess kind of engaging that way.
Okay, yeah, good. So you're actually warming them up. Go ahead, Martha.
If it's the first time someone is using Zoom, there are things we might think are basic, but they are not. someone doesn't know where the chat box is.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
yeah, it's simple stuff like that. Or, you could have breakout rooms and teach people how that works. So it's really the basic things on how Zoom works.
Yeah, good. Okay. Okay. Plan properly. Ensure the topic's worth tackling for your audience. Get a way to make people more involved. Be conscious of the time factor. Find out what topics people want to discuss. Ask people to do things in the meeting. Pick the meeting topics so they're invested. All these are great ideas. Give the meeting a little more flexibility. So if the discussion goes in on a little bit of a different direction than expected, as long as it's a good discussion, continue to facilitate it. Yeah. Good ideas. You can add value anyway, in one of those ways. Okay, why might spending adequate time thinking through and planning your meeting be important? Time will help you prepare for problems that may occur and what you can do to combat them. It helps the execution of the event. It ensures the meeting time is used well and the experience is valuable for one's time. It will help you reach out to potential attendees and incorporate their needs into the meeting. To identify questions people might have, key points you want them to walk away with, and to make sure the way the topic is presented is inclusive towards people who may not be STA. That is so important. You're prepared for questions if questions do come up. So yeah, if you spend the time, you are more ready for whatever, and so you're a lot less likely to be so nervous that you're forgetting stuff. You can kind of roll with more punches, so to speak, if you know where you're going with it. So it's important to spend that time and to make sure that you make sure the meeting is good, is a good meeting. Make sure it's going to be important. Secondly, be clear. If you follow my little infographic there that I made, be very clear about your objectives, what you plan to cover, how much time it will take, how attending will build value into them. So you want to think, what questions would I want answered before I commit to attending a meeting? And then you answer those questions. So let's try that. Let's go to clarity. So go back to Slido. 2 questions on this one. And this one, Jalen, you can click any that apply, so you can have more than one answer this time. Okay, just a couple more. All right, let's go to the first one. What type of questions would you want answered before you commit? How long is the meeting? Well, that's the number one. How will I benefit if I attend? 100%. Everybody says those are the 2 questions I want answered. How long is the meeting? How will I benefit if I attend? Okay. And then 80%, will it be applicable to my current situation? What are we trying to accomplish? What are the expected outcomes? What makes this meeting valuable? Okay, that's in the last place. All right, let's go to the next one. What are some other things you would want to know? Who might be attending the meeting as well? Where can I access information that was shared after the meeting is over? Will I get help? How much time will I get to prepare? How many people are coming? How much am I expected to participate? Oh, great questions. So as you look at those things, you can begin to say, okay, how can we sculpt this meeting so that we can actually be clear and communicate clearly? Not only before the meeting to try to attract them, but to make the meeting more valuable, because the more clear you are in a meeting, the less time it takes for you to move through the meeting. Does that make sense? If you're not clear, if clarity is not a part of that whole thing, you wander in the wilderness, as they say. And so having clarity is very important. Let's go to the next one. Use giveaways. Don't be afraid to use giveaways, especially if you're seeking new members. Virtual gift cards can help tip the scale in attracting people. As you advertise, as you use them to award quiz prizes, or as you reward the person who brought the most new people, or whatever else you want to use it for, don't be afraid. Taco Bell, Amazon, sometimes even iTunes, people can get new music from there. Any of those kind of gift cards can actually help. And I will just tell you, yes, you can use your ministry monies to purchase gift cards. And what I do a lot of times is I do virtual gift cards so that I can actually send them through their email, because it's a virtual meeting. They'll have before the evening is over, they'll have that gift card in their email. So don't be afraid to use those. All right. Let's talk about giveaways now. Go to your Slido and see what you come up with. They're all in. Here we go. Key reason to give giveaway. Use giveaways to attract new members. Shelby's, I responded to this one. I did miss the last one. I thought so. Okay, to attract new members is the number one. To reward good behavior. To award for quiz prizes. All right. All right, let's see how creative you guys are. I'm excited about this next one. A good reason to award you an Amazon gift card tonight, because we are currently trying to pay for prizes for the winners of our fun run event. So whatever money you give to me would go directly back into our ministry. Oh, that is really good, Catherine. I have a very inspiring smile, guys. Yes, you do, Joanne. That's a good one. Jalen, for turning on my camera. That's awesome. So let's vote. Who gets the gift card tonight? All of you that think Catherine should get it, do a thumbs up in your reaction corner there. Do you know how to do that? Maybe we should start there. I don't know. Little reactions down at the bottom. All right. How many think Joanne should get it for having a very inspiring smile? So there's one for Joanne. There were two for Catherine. How many think Jalen should get it for turning on his camera? Jalen does. All right. Well, Catherine, since you got 2 votes and everybody else got 1, I will be sending you a $20 gift card to Amazon.
Thank you. I think 2 people voted for Joanne too.
Oh, did they?
Because Martha and I voted for Joanne. I don't know if there's a way to split it up.
A tie. Okay. Tiebreaker here. Joanne and Catherine. Tell you what, I'll send you both one. All right. How about that for a fair way to tie, break the tie? You good with that? Okay, good. All right, let's go on. So I will send you on to your emails this evening. There we go. Next, spread the word. Use your social media accounts, campus bulletin boards, especially virtual bulletin boards, to let people know about your events. But here's the key. if you're posting to your social media accounts on a regular basis, you're going to already have a built-in audience. And what we fail to realize is oftentimes people will only go and post when they have an event. The problem with that is it gets missed because we're basically what social media experts call on the feed. Trying to get on the feed, it keeps scrolling. And so if you miss that part of the feed when you get on, they miss your whole event, your whole announcement, unless you have it in your story and they happen to check your story. But if they're not used to seeing you post anything, then what happens is when you do post things that you want people to know about, they don't see them. So for example, when I have Betsa post on our Facebook and our Instagram and so forth, I have her post 2 to 3 things every day. A lot of it's just fluff. It's just, happy Monday, guys, or whatever. But the reason we do that is to stay in people's feeds so that when we have an event, when we have something we're trying to get, people are already seeing it in their feed. So the more you put on there, the more people get used to seeing you, the more people get used to seeing you, the more you'll show up in their feeds. And so what you want to do is try to capture their feeds. So that's an important thing to do, is keep posting. So if your platform provides a scheduler, utilize it to schedule your post to go out multiple times per day so that people will see your post in their feed. So if somebody only gets on in the morning and they don't happen to see your feed that day, but they only get them in the evenings, if you schedule one for morning, one for afternoon, they're more likely to see the afternoon one. Does that make sense? So keep posting, and if you don't have a good scheduler, Hootsuite, it costs you a little bit, but it's a good way to schedule all your social media at one time and have it go to all the different feeds that you have. And so obviously the bigger the event, the more posts you're going to need to post. The more times per day you want to post it to lead up to it, so that people are actually seeing it at some portion of the day when they get on their feed. And so that's the critical thing. We say, well, I posted it. Well, I never saw it. And you hear that all the time. Well, I never saw it. Well, it wasn't because it wasn't posted. They go back, they scroll back. Oh, yeah, I do see it there. But the idea being, the more you, especially like Instagram, whatever, the more you post it, the more it shows up in the feed. The more it shows up in the feed, the more people will see your feed. And that's a critical distinction. Okay, so Word. Go to this one on Slido. What platform most of the students on your campus currently using for events? 100% of you say Instagram. 60 say GroupMe. Twitter is 40. Facebook is 20. TikTok is 20. WhatsApp and other, kind of off the end there. All right, let's go to the next one. What other apps are they using? Snapchat, NA. NA I've never heard of. It's a good one though. I heard maybe. What do you think it means in social media to talk about getting on the scroll? Making sure your post appears on people's feeds, staying relevant. I've never heard this term before. Popping up on people's feed a lot, going through their feed on social media. Yes, it basically means popping up on people's feed a lot. Getting on their scroll means you're there when they're there. You pop in while they're scrolling. Life is kind of a big scroll, and so the more times, as we were talking about earlier, you can get on their feed, the better off you are. Okay, now I just threw this in. I go to the Center for Generational Kinetics, which is a huge company that studies the differences in generations. And from their 2019 study, the 2020 study hasn't come out yet. And this is what they found. You notice that the light blue is ages 13 to 15, the dark blue is 16 to 17, and the purple, or whatever it looks like on yours, is age 18 to 22. The one place we forget to go is YouTube. And so if you want to really attract people to your meetings, if by the Center for Generational Kinetics, and by the way, they're the ones who research for about most of the Fortune 500 companies and most of the, I mean, just about anybody, even including like Disney World and the Disney parks and so forth, their information is seen by all these people. They're saying that when they look at it, 71% of 13 to 15s, yours would be the 18 to 22, still 51% of them go to YouTube. And so if you don't have a YouTube feed, one of the things you might want to do is just, and Stephanie does these wonderful videos. I've seen her do them on her Instagram. And, if you have that and you can post it both on Instagram and YouTube, you've just doubled your ability to reach them. Especially those that don't know about your Instagram, they might just see it pop up on YouTube and say, hey, if you're Dalton State, we got this going on. And so if you start your own YouTube channel, that's the #1 place where kids are that are in your demographic, okay? And if you're especially trying to reach the next ones down, like high school kids, they're 65% there. 71% of 13 to 15-year-olds hang out on YouTube, okay? And then WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, they said, interestingly enough, Facebook is where people go for events. When they want event information, they'll go to Facebook. And so you want to have a Facebook page where you can post all of your event thing, not to do your advertising, but kind of a grounded thing. So that when you have a big event coming up, you have something posted on Facebook, to them, according to Center for Generational Kinetics, their research says if they go to Facebook and see it, it seems to be more legit for them. It's like, okay, I'm seeing it on Instagram, I'm seeing it on YouTube, I said, but suddenly on Facebook, it's like, oh, there it is. Yeah, it's really happening. So a combination of platforms is always going to help you out. All right? Is that helpful? Let's roll on. The last one, invite a guest speaker. Got many local pastors, business people, nonprofit leaders that are more than willing to impart what they know on a specific topic. Don't be afraid to ask. This gives you another pull for members who may be, quote, on the fence. Now, in the back of your ACF Leadership Reboot books that I gave you last week, you will find a couple of pages for whatever area you happen to be in of suggested people to ask that have already said, because I asked them first, that they would be willing to help out if they were asked by an ACF chapter. So right there is a list that any of you can go to find guest speakers. And again, because it's via Zoom, a virtual meeting, they don't have to be in your town. And so if you see somebody on that list that may be from, let's say you're at ETSU, you find somebody on the Atlanta list that you say, oh, we'd like to hear from them, or we'd like to see, and I kind of put what different people specialized in. You can actually call them up and say, hey, I'm from such and such a chapter. Would you be willing to be on a Friday night call with us or a Thursday night call and do a special worship talk for us or whatever? And again, the ones I posted in the book are already people who said, yes, they would be willing to help. So you can have a guest speaker fairly easily if you will just take that time. And I wanted to give you a head start on that just so you could find people, make it easier. And I will tell you, I'm also willing, as I have time, if you schedule me, I'm willing to come in and also do a thing for your group. So if you wanted me to do a Friday night or a Sabbath evening Vespers or something like that, if my schedule is open, I'm happy to do that. Even a Wednesday night, Thursday night, take 45 minutes, an hour. But invite a guest speaker because it brings an outside perspective and it lets you begin to advertise their credentials, which creates more interest from your group. I've been doing guest speaking all over the country since COVID started without ever leaving this chair right here. So like 3-4 weekends ago, I did the entire Southwestern Union. There's 7 or 8 conferences. I did their ACF retreat for them. sitting right here. I did the North American Division, ACFI. I did some stuff for them. I did an ACFI training event for them, sitting right here. And there are other people that will do the exact same thing. They're happy to be involved. It's just they need an invitation and a time that works for them. So don't be afraid to ask. And if you don't see somebody there, you say, hey, we'd like to get a hold of someone else. Who can we get? Let me know, and I'll try to help you catch up with them. So must be Chris coming in. So we'll bow our heads for prayer and we'll end this thing. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody else just came in. I think it's Chris Magaka probably, because he always leaves ACF host on. Anyway, back to the point. So if you invite a guest speaker, you can get a picture of them, begin advertising that on your Instagram feed, and it begins to, oh, it's Shelby, her phone died. Great, good deal. All right, glad to have you back, Shelby. But that will allow you, and don't do a guest speaker every week because they need to hear from you as well. You need to have your own interaction. But if you have a guest speaker every so often, it begins to add a little bit more impetus to your programming, because what it says is, hey, these guys are legit, they're reaching out. And if you have a particular topic and you know somebody in your area that would be good at that, ask them, would you be willing to be on a Zoom call with us? So now we go to this last survey. Go back to your Slido.
Pastor, I have one question real quick.
What's that?
I have one question about this whole program. Is that okay if I ask it, or?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just one of the questions that I have is just the fact that our e-board, a lot of them are taking like social media fast or whatever because of everything that's going on. They just try to like distance themselves from everything. So how would you try to get around that, or do you just let them be?
So basically you're saying they are Zoom fatigued?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you that well.
So basically you're saying they are Zoom fatigued?
In a sense, but it's more so like social media entirely. Like they'll take, well, one of my members for sure is taking like the entire semester off social media altogether. So we've lost one aspect of reaching people because they're not using their social medias anymore. So I don't really know how to, I mean, I can't force them to break their fast or whatever. So
Sure.
do we just keep pushing, or do we ask them still, or no?
You know, I think that what I would do is I mean, how are they getting around classes?
Mostly they use like Gmail or their emails and like group meets. They don't actually have to be on social media mostly for that at all.
Are they on Zoom?
Oh, they're on Zoom and everything like that, but they just aren't on social media, so they won't be promoting the programs usually.
Gotcha. So yeah, it's, you know, if you use their email, I think that would probably be one that you could, you know, if they're not on social media, you can go to an email account and hit that up and send the same stuff to the email. You don't want to force somebody to go against what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
At the same time, you still want to give them information and give them a chance to participate. And so I just realized we didn't do the questions here. So I was thinking about your question. So yeah, I would say whatever it is you can use to actually get the message to them. You're not going to use your social media if they're saying I'm in the social media fast, and that's fair. At the same time, if that's your person that's supposed to be doing your promoting your stuff for your chapter, I would say you probably need to find somebody else if that person is on a social media fast. Because if they're your supposed to be your communications person and they're taking a social media fast, it's very difficult for you to communicate on social media if they're not doing anything. So at that point, is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes, sir. They're not our social media director or anything like that. It's one of our other members.
Okay.
They're on the e-board though, so it would help if they were able to like promote, but it's not a big deal per se.
Sure.
But just trying to figure out how to navigate that.
Well, what I would do is say, can you take and develop an email list as well of your members, and ask that person if they would be willing to email everybody. If we send the information to your email, could you forward that onto an email list?
Ooh, that's a good idea. Let me write that down.
And that way they get included as part of the e-board without violating their social media fast. So.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's go through these answers real quick. What are the 5 ways to attract more people? Make the meetings valuable for time. Don't be afraid to use gift cards. Be clear about the purpose of meetings. Better use of social media. Make it good. Be clear. Use giveaways. Spread the word. Invite a guest speaker. Somebody was paying attention. That was good stuff. Make it good. Be clear. Use giveaways. Spread the word. Invite a guest speaker. Y'all are good. Man, 3 of them right in a row. Okay, which one does your group tend to use most? Make it good. Notice you're not real clear. And inviting a speaker is kind of down there, and giveaways aren't big on the thing. So spread the word. You're pretty good at that. So you probably need to see how can we balance this out a little bit more, so forth. But make sure you make it good. Which one does your group tend to use least? Inviting a guest speaker. Okay. Which one do you feel will put into effect at your very next meeting? Use giveaways. Invite a guest speaker. Be clear, spread the word. Okay, so there are some things. Scale of 1 to 5. Wow, a 5. That's awesome. I'm glad to know this is helpful. So we've got about 8 minutes left. If you want to go back to Slido, it should pop to the Q&A. If you have questions that you don't want to speak out, you can actually just type them in there. We'll walk through your questions. If you want to just unmute your mic and ask a question, you're welcome to do that as well. We don't have a huge group, so either way.
I have one question.
Okay.
As we're kind of like winding down, do you think it would be helpful to try and have, I guess, giveaways? Like our program, our ACF chapter is doing a giveaway right now. Not of money or anything like that. One of our members is getting into canvases and creating canvases. So we're doing a giveaway to help her not only get some publicity, but also like help the club get publicity. And would you say that's a good way to do it, or how would you navigate giveaways per se? I don't know if the church has like certain policies or anything like that.
I think that if it's something that people make or whatever, that you can give away, that anything that people find value in, they would place value in, could be worthy of that.
Okay.
You know, obviously within Christian guidelines. I don't think you want to give away cigarettes or beer. I don't think that'd be a good idea. But any kind of thing, you know, if somebody makes something, those can be good giveaways. As you wind down, you want to also think of winding back up. So you don't just wind down, you wind down with a purpose of saying, meet us here in January, or, you know, that kind of thing. So you're actually setting them up. It's much like a television series that says, you know, don't miss next Wednesday night. You know, coming soon. They're always giving you something to look forward to. And so when you wind down, especially the giveaway, there's more to come, and be back with us on January 5, you know, or whatever the date it is. And so you're going to leave them already with the idea, this was fun, or this was great, and we're going to do another giveaway January 5. Oh, I'm going to be there January 5. Then as you do your advertising leading up to January 5, you can go back to that, but that's already linking into a pleasant memory that they have. So yeah, I would say wind it down, use whatever, but wind it down with a purpose to wind it back up again. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It makes sense.
Okay, will guest speakers be offended if only a few people show up to the meeting or study? Not if you set them up for it. You can say, hey, we may have 5, we may have 15. We're not really sure. We're going to try for the 15, but be ready for the 5. And if I know that going in, I'm not going to be offended at all. So all you need to do is say so when you ask them. You know, or we may have 3, but we're needing some help. I did a couple months back. I got a call from some young adults, because, you know, I have all collegiate and then I got post-collegiate young adults under my umbrella. And so I got some post-collegiate young adults, actually some young parents and stuff, that wanted me to do a Zoom Vespers for them and their friends. Well, we're talking about 6 people, and their kids were running all around. Well, I can look at that and go, well, that's not enough people, but I don't. Well, I look at that, here's people that need help. I've got time, I can help them. So if it's 6 people, great, it's 6 people. Let's have fun. Let's deal with this. And you're going to find most guest speakers will feel the same way, especially if it's on Zoom. Now, many of them, and one of the things that I would do just for courtesy's sake is, if you're going to have a guest speaker, send out word ahead of time to your members saying, you know, we're going to ask that you turn on your cameras so that the guest speaker is not just looking at a name. They can actually see, because that is one of the things. If you don't know a group, you don't know what they look like, you don't know what's going on, it's very easy for you to say, I don't even know if they're hearing me or not. You know, I don't even know whether I'm coming through. I don't know how I'm being received, any of that. And so just to have your cameras on, if you're going to have a guest speaker, you want to I think, ask people to turn their cameras on out of courtesy to the guest speaker. So, any other questions or thoughts? All right. Well, we got 2 minutes to spare. I hope this has been profitable for you. I have been recording it, so it will be available later on for those in your group that didn't see it. If you'd like them to go back and check it out. Let me see if I can stop screen share. There we go. There we go. We're back. And so anyone that wants to come back and see it later can. But thank you for joining us, and hope that's been helpful to you. We have another training session. Did I give you guys that training calendar? I think I did during the leadership reboot. I'm trying to find it on my thing. I don't remember what the next one is. I'm sorry. I meant to have that. Oh, here it is. I did find it. And just in case you don't have it, I'll pop it back in here again. It's in your chat now. So if you put down the very next one is actually December 6th. And this is how to attract people you don't normally interact with.
I think you accidentally sent it to me privately.
Did I do that? Oh, good, Catherine. At least you got it. All right. Yes, I guess you were the last one that sent me something privately. So let me try that one more time, and we'll get it to everybody this time, not just so Catherine can selfishly hoard it. All right. You see it there now. There we go. That should have come through in the whole chat. So you can download that. December 6th, attracting people you don't normally interact with. January 10, great new online group game ideas. And we're going to play a few on that. And then hopefully we'll have our Connect Retreat February 26, 28 live. And then March 21, succession planning or passing the baton, and then using your summer to set up for next fall. So that's our training schedule between now and the end of the year. And try to make them as helpful as possible so that you can grow in leadership. All right, any other thoughts or questions or whatever? All good? Let's pray as we close this evening. We'll be done. Thank you, Lord, for this time we've been on. We thank you for these leaders and for those that weren't able to make it tonight because of all the different busy things that happened. Lord, we ask that you'll continue to bless our ACF chapters around the conference. You'll continue to walk with each one, especially through the next few weeks as they end up their semester, trying to get their projects in, the tests they have to do, different things that are required. We ask that as they also look to next semester, they'll begin planning and you'll give them guidance and wisdom. So be with each one of us now. May our hearts and our lives be yours eternally in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'll hang out for a little bit if someone wants to talk. If you don't, we'll just we'll call it.
You guys have a nice week.
Yep,
Bye.
you too.
Good night.
Have a
Thank
nice
you so
night,
much.
everyone.